everybody, this is Jackie Stewart. Welcome to Jackie's Kitchen and my edition of USDA's Nutrition Month. I'm going to do a little recipe today for you that I've made for a million years, and I wanted to do something that is nutritional, pretty quick and easy, and it tastes good, and also something that you could serve at a party if you're having a party for people. And also, I used to make these up and leave them for my kids. I just put them in the freezer. They'd come home from school. They could pop them in the microwave or in the toaster oven. They'd be ready in, if you're going to microwave them, 30 seconds. If you want to put them in the toaster oven, a couple minutes and you're good to go. So, let me tell you a little bit about this recipe. First of all, it was in a cookbook that was released in 1982. So, this recipe is 39 years old, but it's as good today as it was then. And it's from a cookbook that's called the Congressional Club Cookbook. And it was something that members of the Congressional Club would put together every year, and they would sell it, obviously, to, make money. So in this one, there's a little message from Nancy Reagan, whose husband was a president at the time. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I thought that this paragraph really applied to us. She says, it's been proven that a proper, well-rounded diet directly affects our performance. All of our performances in all aspects of life. Good nutritional habits also can be an indirect savings in prevention of diet-related illnesses. So one of the things I think in our sport that's important to remember is, you put good things in your body, then your body's going to respond in a positive way. So with that being said, let me introduce you to the recipe that I'm going to make for you today. And I think it's appropriate because it's called Hanky Pankies. And as we know, there is a little hanky panky that goes on in Washington, D.C. Actually, probably more than we want to know. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, we're going to get started on our recipe. It doesn't take very many ingredients, which is a good thing. You need a pound of ground beef, so I always buy lean ground beef. And it says in the recipe pork sausage, but for this recipe, I bought Italian sausage, which I think makes it taste a little more like pizza, so I like that. And it says oregano. I didn't have any oregano, so I'm just using Italian seasoning, which works. And it says basil. Sometimes I use fresh basil because I grow it, but for this kind of a thing, I just use the dried basil. I think it's just as good. And it also says garlic powder. I don't do that. I do the minced garlic. So takes that, and then Worcestershire sauce. Geez, that's hard for me to say. I don't know why. So those are the things that it needs, plus the cheese, as I've talked about. And this is a pound of Velveeta cheese. It came all together. I've already chopped off the other. So anyway, those are the ingredients that you need, so it's pretty easy. And the little rye party breads, which I talk about later. So now we're looking at this browned ground beef and Italian sausage. And it's a pound of each, as I said before. And now I have cubed up a pound of Velveeta cheese, and I just dump it in there. Well, maybe I'll dump it in. I'm going to try to dump it in. Kind of likes it in that pan. It doesn't want to come out very much. So I just put this in, and it just melts right in to the meat. You know what? From here, it kind of looks like, through the lens, it looks a little bit like eggs. But really, it's cheese. And as I said earlier, you can use any kind of cheese you want. A pound of it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix it up. And I have my fire on low right now. I don't like for it, otherwise I'm afraid the meat will burn. So I'm just going to work on that for a little bit until I get that cheese all mixed in. Okay, we're back, and I have the cheese all browned in there now. Next, I'm going to add the garlic. So I said I use the minced garlic, not garlic powder. And this is a new jar of it. Anyway, you see all that liquid on the top. I don't even pay attention to what it says in the recipe as far as what you're supposed to use. First of all, in the 80s, things were a little more boring from a palate standpoint. Anyway, so I'll put a bunch of that juice in there, and then I just make sure I have enough garlic to taste it, Don't be shy about it. And, kids sometimes don't like garlic as much, so if you're making it for kids, you might go a little light on the garlic. I don't know. Or if you're having it for a party, have at it. Then I use this Italian seasoning. I am going to sprinkle that all over. I like to have a lot of that to make sure that I get that everywhere. And then the last thing I'm going to put in is some basil leaves. So I'm just going to sprinkle the basil all over so that at the end, when you taste it, it's going to taste nice and Italian-y. Yum, yum. So now I have blended everything into the mix, and I wish that you could smell this because it smells yummy. It smells just like you walked into an Italian restaurant. Ah, yum, yum, yum. Okay, so I made the hanky-pankies in that saucepan, easy. And then the last thing you do is you get these little rye squares, party ryes they call them, and you can they come in a loaf, and you can buy them at the grocery store. I usually go to the deli section, that's where I find them. So what you do then is you take your little rye bread and you take a little bit of the sausage, hamburger, ground beef mixture with the cheese, and I use a spoon and I just put it all on there, and I try to pile on as much as I can. And then I just stick them in a plastic container like this and put a top on it, and I put them in the freezer. And then you just let them freeze. And when you want to get them out, you just get them out, and the kids can get them out when they get home from school. And put them, as I said earlier, put them in the microwave or in the toaster oven, whatever you want to do with them, or both. You can do whatever, and you have a nice little snack or a nice presentation for a party. And I have done these before, and instead of using Velveeta cheese, I've used mozzarella, and that was good. And then on top of them, after I got them out of the freezer, and if I put them in the microwave, or actually I have a warming tray that I use at parties, and then I put a little sliced tomato right on top. Oh, that was to die for. Really, really good too. So there are a lot of different things you can do with them. Have fun, experiment, and enjoy your hanky-pankies. Thanks for listening in.